All right, we are continuing chapter 7, polynomials. Now we are going to work on factor by grouping. Now, what today's lesson is we are factoring a 4-term or more polynomial. And we're doing that by doing repeated GCF factoring that we did yesterday. So here's what we do. We take the polynomial and we break it into separate binomials. So we group them together. We factor out the GCF of the first binomial. We factor out the GCF of the second binomial. Now, you might have to factor out a negative GCF to make the binomials identical. Our goal is the binomials will be identical at the end, what's left. Then we put the GCFs together in a binomial and bring the common binomial down, and your answer should be 2 binomials typically. All right, so let's give this a shot. So we're going to start off. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to group these. So we're going to group here, and we're going to group here. So the first question I have is what goes into 21 and 6? And the answer would be a 3. And then x to the third, x to the second, it would be x to the second. So now remember, we're going to divide those both by 3x squared. So that's going to give me 7x plus 2. Then over here in the second one, I look and I say, okay, 28x and 8. So what goes into there? It'd be a 4 and no variable because the other one doesn't have one. And when I divide both of those by 4, I'm left with 7x plus 2. Notice you have the same binomial. So we're going to take that binomial, 7x plus 2, and then we're going to put our GCFs together, 3x squared plus 4. And that is how we factor by grouping. Okay, let's try another one. So here on the second one, we're going to group, and then we're going to group again. So I start in the first one here. I have 40x to the third and 16x squared. So the greatest common factor there would be 8x squared. So we're going to divide by 8x squared, divide by 8x squared. So 40x to the third, 40 divided by 8 is 5. X to the third divided by x squared is x. 16 divided by 8 is 2. X squared divided by x squared. Now, in the second one, you'll notice that there is nothing common between 5x and 2. So in this situation, what we do is we factor out a 1, and we leave the binomial the same. So now you'll notice we take the common binomial, 5x plus 2, and put it with the other binomial, 8x squared plus 1. And there would be our factored form. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. Now, the difference between 1, 2, and 3 is you'll notice right here, there is a subtraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and say, nope, that's a plus a negative 40. So the reason for that is now when we group it, we're going to group that negative with the 40. So now we look, 35x to the third plus 42x squared. The common is going to be 7x squared. So we're going to divide by 7x squared to both of these. So that's going to leave me 5x, and that's going to leave me plus 6. Now, remember, we want this to look identical. So we want this grouping to turn into 5x plus 6. So to do that, I would need to take out a negative 8. So when we divide this by a negative 8, we end up with 5x plus 6. Now we take that grouping, bring it down, and then we group the other part, 7x squared minus 8, and there would be our factor by grouping. Okay, so let's try another one with that minus part. So here I see I have a minus, so I'm going to take that and bring it in. Now I'm going to group, and I'm going to group again. So the common factor, greatest common factor between 6x cubed and 3x squared is 3x squared. So now when I do that, that would leave me with 2x plus 1. Now remember, we want this to look identical. So we're going to take out a negative 1, and that would give me 2x plus 1, because we're going to divide both of those by a negative 1, and we divided these by 3x squared. Now we put it all together, so I get 2x plus 1, 3x squared minus 1. And that is how we do factor by grouping.